In this video, we'll be going over IRS Form 15112, the Earned Income Credit Worksheet for IRS Notice CP27. So, taxpayers normally don't complete this form unless they've received the IRS Notice CP27, which indicates that the IRS has determined that the taxpayer may be eligible for the earned income credit for a tax year in which they did not claim the credit. So this is similar to CP Notice 09 in that related form, IRS Form 15111, it is also considered an earned income credit worksheet. The primary difference, I believe, is that 15112, this one, applies to taxpayers who may not have a qualifying child, and they only need to verify that they qualify based on their record. So you can claim the earned income tax credit if you meet the income criteria and if you happen to not have dependents of your own. You can still claim it in certain circumstances. So if you received the CP27 notice, you can use the same form that should accompany your notice. It basically is the same information as this Form 15112. The primary difference is that since you received a notice, you don't need to complete all of the taxpayer information at the top of that form. You would simply go through steps 1 and step 2, which are verifying specific information and then signing the form. So in this video, we're going to go through IRS Form 15112. If you want, you can also go to the article where we've included links to other supporting documentation articles that you might be interested in. You can actually see the notice CP27 as we go through that. We've embedded that video. So we'll put links in the show notes to this video for all of those resources if you're interested. So we're going to start with the contact information fields, and this one we're just going to complete on the fly as our hero John Doe. And in this case, his wife, Mary. So generally, for the earned income tax credit, both spouses have to be eligible. We'll go into some of the specific eligibility requirements, but at the very least, you need to have a Social Security number. If you have an individual taxpayer ID number, that means that you may be a resident, but you're not necessarily a citizen, or you are not being recognized as a citizen. If you meet citizenship qualifications, then you can then apply for that Social Security number, which would replace your individual taxpayer ID number. In either case, if you do not have a Social Security number, then you cannot claim the earned income credit for that year. We go into a little bit more detail in our article about what if circumstances, such as what happens if you qualify after filing your tax return, so on and so forth. So if you have deeper questions, go ahead and check that out. As I always tell people, if your address has changed, then according to this, you should call the IRS. You can visit irs.gov, but realistically, you might be directed to the change of address form, which is IRS Form 8822. That's probably just as good of a way. You can call the IRS if you have a lot of patience and don't mind sitting on hold. You're going to validate your information, and then you can change your address over the phone. You can also do that by filing your next tax return, but if you've received CP Notice 27, you're probably in between tax returns. So you should either file IRS Form 8822 or call the 800 number here. And at the bottom, we're going to enter a phone number where John Doe can be reached. Let's just say he's available 2 p.m. and afterwards. The IRS normally has set hours. I think they're from 7 to 7 local time, or they might be 8 to 8 a.m. to p.m. So if you work night shifts, you're going to have to put in some time that fits the normal day hours. You can't put in like 2 a.m. or anything like that. The IRS will not call you at your preferred time. Let's go ahead and put in a secondary phone number just in case Mr. Doe is itchy about completing all of his fields. So now that we've completed the taxpayer information, we're going to go through step 1. The bottom line here is that if you check any of these boxes, then you can stop right here and don't bother completing the form. You would not be eligible for the earned income tax credit. So in this case, the IRS has already kind of made it an informal determination that you meet the requirements as noted in your CP27 notice. So if you simply go to the bottom and sign and date this, then you would probably be eligible for the refund that's shown on your notice. Now, if you have tax debt from previous tax years or different tax situations, the IRS will take a look at that and see if they need to offset your taxes owed with your tax return. So if for some reason John Doe is filing this for 2023 because he got caught up in tax season and did not file it, he can go ahead and claim the tax credit. And let's say that his notice showed that he had $500 that he might be eligible for. Well, if he completes this form 15112 and sends it in, the first thing the IRS is going to do before they issue the refund is they're going to make sure that his tax record doesn't have any outstanding debt. So let's imagine that John Doe owes $200 from his 2022 tax return. In that case, the IRS would offset his $200 in tax liability, and he would receive a refund of $300, which would be the difference between the original refund amount of $500 and the $200 that he owed from a previous year. So let's take a look at the 4 different qualifying criteria. And again, if you check any of these boxes, go ahead and stop. You can throw away the form. You don't qualify. So the first one is I did not live in the United States for more than 6 months during the tax year. So you have, in order to meet the criteria for the EIC, you have to have been in the United States for over half of the year. Now, if you're military personnel or if you're a military family and you're stationed outside the United States on extended active duty orders, which are either indefinite orders or orders for at least 90 days or longer, then that you're considered to meet that criteria. So the IRS considers you to live in the United States if you're a service member that's deployed overseas, at least for the purpose of claiming the EITC. So if you meet that criteria, let's go to the next one. I can be claimed as a dependent by another person and did not file a joint return. So if you can be claimed by another person, then generally you're not eligible to claim the earned income credit. Now, there are situations where you can be claimed as a dependent by another person and still be a joint filer. Typically, this is for young married couples where one of the spouses can still be claimed as a dependent on a parent's tax return. And so their parents talk them into doing that so that the parents can get the tax credit. So if that's the case, you can be eligible to be claimed as a dependent and file a joint tax return. If you are eligible to be claimed by another person, then that person cannot claim you as a dependent while you're trying to claim the earned income credit. You can either take the earned income credit and that person has to not try to claim you as a dependent, or you can allow that person to claim you as a dependent and you cannot take the earned income credit. So if this is a situation that might apply to you, talk to your folks and work that out. But in the tax year where your folks may have claimed you as a dependent, you cannot then turn around and claim the EITC. Number 3 criteria, my social security card reads not valid for employment and was issued to receive a federally funded benefit such as Medicaid. So if you have a social security card and you're not allowed to work, then you still, you cannot, you're not eligible for the earned income credit. I mean, that probably makes a little bit more sense if you think through the name of the earned income tax credit. So if you're not eligible to go out and earn income, then you're not eligible for the earned income credit. Now, if your status changes and you are eligible for employment, then you can request a new Social Security card from the Social Security Administration, and you should probably do that. Now, the 4th criteria is very similar to number 2. I'm an EITC qualifying child of another person. Generally speaking, that means that you might be considered their dependent, but you also are either permanently blind and totally disabled if you lived with that person for more than half of the year, if you're that person's child, stepchild, grandchild, foster child, sibling, half sibling, step sibling, or if you're a descendant of one of those relations. And finally, if you did not file a joint return. So again, most taxpayers that would receive this notice would look at these criteria and leave them blank. And if you do that, if you're able to do that, then you can go ahead and claim the EITC. So if that applies, then you simply sign here, John Doe's signature as well as the date. And then Mary Jane Doe would do the same. So this is a form that doesn't come with instructions. There's no additional information. So most of the filing considerations are addressed in the CP27 notice. As mentioned, you probably aren't going to receive this form unless you receive that notice. And there should be either an address or like a marked envelope that you can put your completed form into and then send it to the IRS. If not, then you should call the phone number that's listed on that notice and get the correct filing information for your particular situation. This form is also available in Spanish. So if you check out our article, we've attached both this form and the Spanish version of IRS form 15112. And we go into a lot more detail about certain aspects of the earned income credit. So that's all we have for this video. If you want to learn more, check out the article. We'll put the link in the show notes. If you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. And if you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions or comments, or if there's another topic that you'd like to see in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comment section. Thank you very much and have a great day.